Everybody, welcome back to another edition of PD and P-Dubs Unscripted. It's great to be with you once again on this June 14th. Wow, we're right smack in the middle of June, and I think it's one of PD's favorite days. PD, remember what day today is?
June 14th?
Come on now. Come on. I know you got it in you.
Is this the Ryan Sandberg game? Or
No.
The Lee Ilya rant?
Oh, keep going. It's in you.
Am I on the right? Is it the right team?
It's not a team. It's got nothing to do with a team today. It's about our country. And
is it Flag Day?
It is Flag Day today. June 14th is Flag Day.
That's right. It does say that on my calendar.
I got him.
I was just thinking, because we always make jokes about, Ryan Sandberg game and the Lee Ilya rant.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I mean, PD is always talking about, when it's Flag Day and this and that. He's such a patriot. And so I just thought it would just ooze right out of you.
It just wasn't dawning on me. For the Big Bang Theory fans out there, I think Sheldon Cooper would be mad at me for his Fun with Flags segment that I don't remember it's Flag Day.
Yeah. But anyway, hopefully you're proudly waving your flag today on this glorious Flag Day to give thanks for our freedom that we enjoy in this country. And so we're here with a Faith Intersections conversation. PD and I have kind of come up with a couple of things that we've seen on social media with regards to athletics. Once again, it's kind of a favorite topic of ours where we find people in the sports arena sharing their faith.
Right. And it's not like we go out of the way. It's just the people we follow on Twitter because even the first sound clip we're going to play for you guys, which is about 2.5, 3 minutes, I didn't see it until you sent it to me, so I must not follow the right people on Twitter.
I don't know. I rarely open Twitter. Maybe a couple times a week, and I happened to open it this morning while we're recording, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And so just to give you a little backdrop, this is a press conference for the Women's College World Series, where currently the Oklahoma Sooners are playing the Florida State Seminoles. Yes. I wanted to go play ball there at Florida State. They were one of my top choices.
Did you like the uniforms?
I just knew Florida State was good in baseball because it's in Florida, and the other place I wanted to go was Arizona State. But the dowry of the family funds just couldn't handle that.
What about Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State, it wasn't on my radar as a baseball team.
But they had a good they had one of the best college baseball players a little bit after you would have went through college.
Really?
Right around your
college. Well, Big Hurt.
No,
right?
He's Auburn.
Oh, Auburn.
No, Robin Ventura.
Oh.
Robin Ventura was
I didn't realize that.
He was a Oklahoma State Cowboy. Like when I was on Vicarage and I went to I went to 2 Oklahoma State football games, once against Grambling and once against Texas. But the one against Grambling, I got there and it was like, I think it was a faith day and walking around like kind of almost like their gym. And they had they had a Robin Ventura little stuff of his uniform and stuff. Cause I think he might've had like some College World Series records or something.
Would you hold it against me? And is it bad to have an image of, like, when you mentioned his name, that the image that came to my mind was him in a headlock by Nolan Ryan getting pummeled in the face on the pitcher's mound after he charged the pitcher's mound?
Well, I think a lot of people remember that. But the guy was in a rock and a hard place. Like, either he gets beat up by a 40-year-old Nolan Ryan, or he,
lets it go. Yeah.
Or he beats him. So
he has to man up and charge the mound. Well, I'm not a fighter. I'm a pastor.
Right.
So anyway.
I was just looking up here, Robin Ventura statistics. He capped off his collegiate career in 1988 by carrying the Oklahoma State, the Pokes, go Pokes, to a school record 61 wins, while hitting just a measly .391, 26 homers, and 96 ribbies. But yeah, I knew he had some sort of college record. I thought it was something hitting 400, but he had a 58-game hit streak in college.
Wow.
So that's even better than Joe DiMaggio's 56 in the majors.
Yeah.
Granted, it's college, but so yeah, Robin Ventura, very well-known Oklahoma State third baseman there.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Fields of the White Sox also went to Oklahoma State. He was a quarterback.
So the Oklahoma State, they're the Sooners.
So no, Oklahoma State is the Pokes, the Cowboys. Go Pokes. OSU. Go Pokes.
Oh, so I have it totally wrong. It's Oklahoma University is the Sooners, right?
Yes.
Okay,
And
so
that's
this
who
is
yeah, you
this
had
is
it
who
right.
is. Okay.
Yeah, you had it. I got off when you were talking about wanting to go to Florida State.
Oh, okay.
I started to bring up Oklahoma State and Robin Ventura for baseball.
Okay, so because I'm
yeah.
like, no, they're Sooners, and you called them Pokes, and I'm like, I'm all confused.
No, so Oklahoma State, for those listening, is orange is their main color. Oklahoma University is maroon.
Yeah.
Go Sooners. And actually not. I'm not a big Sooners fan.
Yeah.
You know, I did my 1 year in Oklahoma and Vicarage, so I have a little tie to there with Oklahoma, and their football's their big thing. But I guess some college softball is good because they just won. You know, we're recording this on Thursday, June 8th. They just won the first game of the College World Series, and the article that I saw was a pretty handily win, winning 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I guess they're on a huge winning streak. I don't pay attention to
I don't either.
But they reference it a little bit in the thing. So maybe let me pull that up real quick if you want to chat.
Yeah,
for a
I'll
second.
just keep chatting because it came on my Twitter feed, this video that we're going to share with you. And it was a press conference that usually you think, oh, press conferences are after the game or after they've won the championship. So Petey and I were trying to figure out, are they the champs? And it turns out that this press conference was prior to the series starting. And it was 3 Oklahoma Sooner players and along with their coach. And they began to talk about their approach to the game and how they face adversity and how they find joy in what they do.
And especially because I was looking up as he was talking there. But yeah, so their win last night against Florida State was their 52nd win in a row.
Wow.
So a 52-game
That's
win
incredible.
streak. So, I thought a 58-game hit streak is impressive, but a 52 winning games in a row, that's pretty impressive.
I would say they're probably the odds-on favorite in the series, wouldn't you?
I would think, and just that, you think of baseball, it's just a game of chances at time, or one little mistake can cost you a game. One bad pitch
right.
could be a 3-run home run.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hats off to them.
Right.
And so, so I'm going to play the clip right now so you guys can hear the clip that Pastor P-Dubs found here.
ESPN, for the players, I know you talked about keeping the joy of the game, but I'm curious, it's a long season, right? And you guys have had the target on your back the entire time, the win streak being number one. How do you handle the unique pressure that comes with that? How do you keep the joy for so long when anxiety seems like a thing that could very easily set in?
Well, the only way that you can have a joy that doesn't fade away is from the Lord. And any other type of joy is actually happiness that comes from circumstances and outcomes. I think Coach has said this before, but joy from the Lord is really the only thing that can keep you motivated, just in a good mindset, no matter the outcomes. Thankfully, we've had a lot of success this year, but if it was the other way around, joy from the Lord is the only thing that can keep you embracing those memories, moments, friendships, and all of that. So that's really the only answer to that, because there's no other way that softball can bring you that, because of how much failure comes in it and just how much of a roller coaster the game can be.
1,000% agree with Grace Lyons. I went through that my freshman year. I was so happy to win the college. I've talked about this before, but I was just so happy that we won the College World Series, but I didn't feel joy. I didn't know what to do the next day. I didn't know what to do for that following week. I didn't feel filled. And I had to find Christ in that. And I think that is what makes our team so strong, is that we're not afraid to lose, because if it's not the end of the world if we do lose. Yes, obviously we've worked our butts off to be here and we want to win, but it's not the end of the world because our life is in Christ, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think a huge thing that we've really just latched onto is eyes up. And you guys see us doing this and pointing up, but we're really fixing our eyes on Christ. And that's something where, like they were saying, you can't find a fulfillment in an outcome, whether it's good or bad. And I think that's why we're so steady in what we do, and our love for each other and our love for the game, because we know this game is giving us the opportunity to glorify God. Mm-hmm. And I just think once we figured that out and that was our purpose and everyone was all in with that, it's really changed so much for us. And I mean, I know myself, I've seen so much of a growth in myself with once I turned to Jesus and I realized how he had changed my outlook on life, not just softball, but understanding how much I have to live for, and that's living to exemplify the kingdom. And I think that brings so much freedom. And I'm sure everyone's story is similar, but we all have those great testimonies that have really like shown how awesome it is to play for something bigger. And I think that's just what brings me so much joy. And no matter the outcome, whether we get a trophy in the end or not, this isn't our home. And I think that's what's amazing about it is we have so much more. We have an eternity of joy with our Father, and I'm so excited about that. And yes, I live in the moment, but I know this isn't my home. And no matter what, my sisters in Christ will be there with me in the end when we're with our King. So,
Patty, you've got to keep your eye on the prize and really work with these players on it.
So that was just a little bit of the clip there. Like I said, about 3 minutes, and look at us getting all fancy and high tech here. Now getting random clips of audio into the podcast.
I know
here.
it's amazing what you're able to do, PD. I just sit back and marvel.
But I mean, what a great witness that they gave, and like not to be even ashamed of the gospel message.
No, just unabashed. Sharing and witness, not holding back. Like I said, when I showed it to you, I thought, I wonder what network they're on. Are they getting interviewed by a Christian network? And it didn't seem like it.
No, because the guy said, from ESPN.
Yeah.
So it's an ESPN reporter. So it's press conference probably going into College World Series. And like, one of the things that stood out to me initially watching the video when you first showed it to me was like, how big of a smile the first player had when they were talking.
Right.
That you could see that it was true joy being able to talk about her faith and the joy. And that is such a great thing she brings up is like, joy and happiness are two different things.
Right.
A lot of times we equate them to being the same thing, but they're not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, and it's really a good lesson for us all of us Christians, that very thing, because day in and day out, I think mostly, no matter whether you're a Christian or not, each human being wants to have some general state of happiness, right? Of going through the day. But as we learn in our Christian faith, and as she testifies to, happiness is fleeting. Happiness is an emotion, but there is something stronger and long-lasting with joy in Christ.
Right. And that's really the huge difference. Is happiness is something for a moment, like a team winning a championship. Like, I know your happiness in 2016.
Yeah. I mean, it was more than a moment. It was built up and it's been lasting. But yes, the emotion of that. I probably said some things that about how happy I was and that the Lord could call me home at that moment and I'd be fine.
But
I didn't mean that.
But it's one of those things like. You looking back that you can remember that exact moment of watching Rizzo catch that final ball and the happiness that came over you because the wait was over.
Yeah.
Just like I can remember sitting on the futon in my college dorm room when the Sox clinched, when Paulie caught the ball thrown from Uribe, I believe, at shortstop. I think fielded that final play. But that joy of or a happiness of I finally see my team win a World Series. And I'm assuming like you, baseball is probably my number one sport because that's the sport I grew up loving as a kid.
For sure.
Like I love football and basketball and hockey, but there's something about baseball that brings that true happiness because I'm like, that's the sport I think of I've been a fan of the longest. So seeing my team in there, which I think they are like my favorite team, them or the Bears, it's always a toss-up depending on the day, but seeing them finally win that World Series,
right,
it brings that happiness.
It does, and that happiness is fleeting because the next season starts and they didn't win it again, and then starts the decline.
Sox didn't even make the playoffs the year following.
Yeah, so it is hard to sustain that joy, and because it really is just emotional happiness for the achievement that they made and that you're waiting for. But yeah, the joy of God's presence in our lives is everlasting, and that's where this is really just fantastic about how that is used as a baseline of their approach into the game, which she said, and is so true, softball, baseball is a game about failures.
Right.
You're going to achieve more failure than success in softball or baseball or any sport, really.
Well, think about just MLB. Actually, I think there is somebody right now on the Marlins hitting that woke up this morning because I saw a tweet that they have just over a 400 batting average, which is amazing. And it's like, that means that person has failed 60% of the time.
Right.
When in previous years, the last few years, it feels like a batting champion hits 330. So you're feeling 70% of the time.
Yes. And you're considered an all-star or one of the elites.
You're leading the league.
Yeah.
In
I'm like,
stat.
it is the craziest thing. So when she brought that up, that, there is a continual failure or lack of success in softball, like we've seen any of our players, our favorite players, go through slumps, where they're, 1 for the last 25 or something.
Right.
I heard somebody, I can't remember what team it was, we were watching, I might have been watching the Cardinals.
Oh, can you say that on air?
I know. I got to see.
You were watching the team they were playing.
I wanted to see them lose.
Okay.
So, but anyway, there was this streak. Someone went 3 for, I think it was Wilson Contreras. He
Willie.
Wilson hit a home run, and I missed it. And I turned it on right after he crossed home plate doing his home run trot. But before that, I think the announcer said he was something like 3 for his last 35.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's a slump. Whew.
Well, think about this. So like, we're talking about Rob Ventura's hit streak. So I was like, let's look at Major League. So, Joe DiMaggio, 56, something everybody says is unbeatable pretty much.
Right.
So he played 1,736 games in his MLB career, DiMaggio. So just over 1,700 games. And only in a 56 games in a row did he get a hit.
Yeah.
So think about that. Like, how many games did he go hitless?
Right.
Yet he's considered a great hitter because of that. And what a small fraction that hit streak was in his overall career.
In the overall, yeah. In his overall at-bats. So, the other cool thing about this press conference was it wasn't just one of the 3 players on the panel expressing some kind of faith witness or orientation, but it just kept building from one player to the next.
And they all kind of seemed like they had it, and not that it was planned out, but how it just flowed so smoothly. And I'm kind of saving the middle person talking because they were kind of talking about some defeats and that, and sad time. But that last player to speak where they're like, this is just, a small, I'm looking for, as much as I'm enjoying this and live for the moment,
right?
I can't wait for what awaits me in eternity. Yeah.
I mean, for a young person to have that sense to say, this is what I'm looking forward to. Like, you're ready to step into the biggest sports stage you've ever had in your life, the College World Series.
Right.
But yet you can sit there and say, I'm looking more forward to meeting my Savior.
Because think about your playing days at SIU. If you guys were playing for the College World Series, what would your focus be on?
Oh, it would have been all about the game, the series, and the opportunity.
And what it would be like to win.
Yeah, it would have. My hats go off to these ladies because I don't think I was there.
I mean,
I couldn't have articulated what they did. I had a faith, but I don't know that I was ready to articulate it like they did.
Well, even I think in seminary doing intramurals, as minor as that is, winning that softball championship, that was pretty fun in my 4th year. Hey, we're going out on top, and just how fun we had with that. And, I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, God, help me win this game.
Yeah.
But it's just oh, man, I want to win because I want to be a champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's funny. I didn't realize you won your softball league. So did we.
Did you?
Yeah, it was an in-town league, and so we did quite well.
Oh, this wasn't in town. This was intramurals against our fellow classmates.
Oh, okay.
But one of my classmates, Matt, he was 6'8", and he was a former minor league baseball player. So he would just hit bombs.
Yeah.
And he would throw he was our shortstop. And I felt like if he threw me the ball at home, I'm like, I got to catch this or I need to get out of the way because it's going to hurt really bad. Because I think, last I heard, he topped off after he got injured, and that's what ended his minor league career, in throwing in the 80s. And I was like, whew, if he's throwing that softball at 80 miles per hour, I need to catch this or I'm going to get out of the way because I'm going to get hurt. So in the grand scheme, that means nothing. It's not there's walls at the seminary saying, "Here's the intramural champions," Canaanite fighting caterpillars.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unlike them, if they continue this winning streak and win, their name will go on forever being like College World Series champion.
Right. But that's secondary. And some of the comments that I'm seeing, it says, one person comment, "I never thought I would say this, but I'm a Sooner softball fan now." Wow. Another person writes, "Young athletes, take notes. Your joy is not found in wins and losses, but rather Jesus." Right. And Patty is the best coach on and off the field. God bless her and these ladies. I definitely want them to win another natty, but these girls know the ultimate goal in life, which is awesome. And that was the other thing I saw, the countenance of the coach smiling. She just sat silently, looking straight ahead, but she was so pleased with her athletes and their witness.
Right, and that's what's amazing. And like, we didn't talk. I said it was kind of skip over the middle person because they kind of talk about it's good when you win. Everybody can be thankful, which kind of ties to the video clip. After I watched you show me that, I thought of what I saw the Boston Celtics coach quote. He was on a video last week after they got knocked out of the NBA playoffs. Chance to go to the championship.
Right.
And so, his name is Joe Mazzulla. And so here's his clip talking. This one's a little bit shorter, so maybe about 45 seconds to a minute, talking about kind of his thoughts after the game. And his gets a little deep and pretty serious right from the beginning. So let's play that.
Okay.
Is there something you're doing over the last 48 hours to keep yourself away from just being consumed with this? Are you watching different movies?
Honestly, I met 3 girls under the age of 21 with terminal cancer. And I thought I was helping them by talking to them, and they were helping me. And so having an understanding about what life is really all about and watching a girl dying and smiling and enjoying her life, that's what it's really all about, and having that faith. The other thing is you always hear people, give glory to God and say thank you when they're holding a trophy. But you never really hear it in times like this. And so for me, it's an opportunity to just sit right where I'm at and just be faithful. That's what it's about.
But even his testimony, like, talking about like the seriousness, and there is a little jump cut between him talking about the people with terminal cancer and then that last kind of part of it. There is a little jump cut. I noticed that time watching, I could see it was split. But like saying, like, basketball, as much as it's a great thing in a sense, is what I'm getting at. Like, how important it is to be playing to get into the NBA Finals. There's real life issues out there. Here's these 3 young people dying of cancer.
Yeah, they got a whole different kind of battle going on. Like they're fighting for their lives, and they're ultimately, from a world point of view, they're going to lose, right? But in their faith, they're victorious, and no one's hoisting a trophy for them, and so, yeah, what a lesson that is. Again, from another young person, like to show their faith in the midst of complete and utter adversity, when they know their health is so bad that they're probably going to succumb to them.
Right, and just because you said he's a young person, I was like, well, how old is the coach of the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla?
Oh, I meant the kids that he visited.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But even him, he's only 34 years old, the head coach. So,
yeah, wow. That's
the maturity level there for...
Yeah, and he's achieved quite a bit in his life already.
Right, and it's that first part stands out, but even that last part when he's talking about the whole idea of like, it's easy to give thanks when you're holding the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, hey, when you win the championship, it's easy to give thanks to God.
Yeah.
Because you hear people say that.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes you wonder if it's just in a sense lip service that they don't really, but it's, this just sounds good.
Right.
But then when he goes in, but when you lose, you don't, and think about it. I've seen plenty of post-game conferences and watching sports. How often do you hear the team after they lose say, thank God for that game. Thank you for the loss.
Yeah, exactly. It's just contrary to what you would expect. And for him to gain this perspective and to share it, I mean, like when he first came out and said, I didn't know where he was going with what he was saying. And then he just like takes you down into this very deep, thoughtful thing for us all to consider, like what is important in life.
Right.
And so for him to get rid of all the distraction and all the pressure of what he's going through in the NBA playoffs and losing,
Right.
he's getting redirected through someone's suffering, you know?
Right. And I think there was something with him because, like, he talks about, they asked him about, like, movies or something. And I think that stems from, like, something about, and I'm just looking up the quote, that, okay, he says that he watches the movie The Town 4 times a week, and it broke me. And so, and I don't know if it's something because it's him watching The Town, because he said it's 3 simple rules. I had to watch The Town 4 times. I refused to watch it once and then lie about seeing it 3 more. I was not allowed to look at my phone while watching The Town. I had to be consumed by it. Every time I watched The Town, I had to notice at least one new thing. And so, like, and for those that don't know, I don't know if you've ever seen The Town. I don't know. It's up there for one of my top probably 10 movies that I've. But it's set in South Boston, and it's Ben Affleck, Jeremy Renner, Blake Lively, John Hamm. But Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner are bank robbers, so they're robbing banks in Boston area. So it's all about these bank robberies. So I think that's what they're talking, that he watches them maybe to kind of just zone out from everything. And so he was watching that, so he's like, yeah, I put all that, here's the real life. It's not about this movie, it's not about the game, it's about real life. People have their struggles. And then to say, hey, and even at the end, he's like, I'm just sitting there in quiet stillness and faithfulness, reminding me to be still and know that I'm the Lord your God.
Yeah, and really that's a great psalm to go to, because it talks about how the world is just kind of spinning out of control, right, in the Psalm 46, and how you find your center in being still and knowing that He is God. So you kind of just hand all of that crazy, chaotic stuff that you're in the middle of over to Him. And you kind of get that sense from this coach.
Right, and both, even the Oklahoma Sooners softball team, like, think of all the chaos in their world, even though it's, in a sense, good chaos.
Yeah.
But all that pressure, because do you really want to be the team to lose and break that winning streak? Do you really want to be the one to bust it?
That adds to it, certainly, because if they didn't have that on their back, like just carrying that, it would be enough pressure just to enter into the College World Series finals. But it's like, oh, you're going to have this incredible record, and then what if you blow it?
Kind of like the Patriots that went undefeated in the regular season and lost in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Of all the losses, that's the one that truly matters. Like, if I was that Patriots team, I would have rather have not gone 16-0 and lost and won in the Super Bowl. Or even
kind of like the Bears did.
Right.
They lost to Miami, right?
Or even the Golden State Warriors team that went 73-9, I believe, which beat the Bulls' record of 72-10 for the best NBA regular season.
Right.
But they
didn't win the championship.
So what would you rather have? 72 wins and a championship, or 73 wins and not the championship?
Easy answer. Yeah.
Championship all day long.
Right. And
so that's the pressure these girls have. But even that, like that one, like I said, the second girl that talked for Oklahoma State, OU, where she was kind of like, even if we lose, it's okay.
Yeah.
And having that mindset, because I don't know if, I know how I am when I play sports. I hate losing.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to be the mistake or like putting that pressure. Like, I think we've talked about bowling maybe a little bit on here, and like getting a 200 game. I've only done that once in bowling.
Right.
But in that moment when I'm getting closer, the nerves get there and I just choke because I'm thinking too much about it and not just being still and just enjoying the moment, which the one girl too talked about on there, where she's like, we're just enjoying the moment. I live in the moment, but ultimately I know what waits for eternity.
Yeah, it is really, it's getting to the point of like letting go of things that you can't control. And I've been reading this book by Max Lucado called Traveling Light, and it's all about like not carrying burdens that aren't meant for you to carry. And so like this 52 game winning streak, while it is amazing and awesome, at some point you're hearing it in their voice or we're talking about it, it has to become a burden. You're carrying this. Okay, when we got to win the next one, or when will it break? When will the streak come to an end? And you as a player must be like, well, there's expectation now placed upon us to win and keep winning and keep winning. So right, wrong, or otherwise, somebody, it's human nature to hoist on that burden and put it on your back and say, we're not going to be the one to lose, and but she has an awesome perspective because she's traveling light. She's not heaping that burden of that win streak upon her, and just like having a really good understanding, like it's going to happen. We're going to lose somewhere along the way, and when we do, it's not the worst thing in the world, and it could be right in this series.
Right, and I think that ties to what Joe Mazzulla of Boston Celtics coach was saying, like, hey, yes, we lost, but like we were saying, there's more important things out there. But ultimately, it's all about God and being faithful, knowing that He's there.
Yeah. I wonder, in sports, there's always these press conferences after the game, before the game, and I know, they play in seasons, and sometimes they play every day. But, more so in the pros, they have to answer the press every day, right?
Right.
I wonder if, your average person, after doing their job, whatever they do, if they came home and there was somebody, apart from their family saying, oh, how was your day?
Right.
And the standard answer was, oh, it's fine, or it's okay.
Was there
another day, another dollar.
Well, when you were saying that, I was thinking, what if somebody came up to you after you got done preaching, be like, hey, Pastor Warren, how'd you feel about that sermon?
Yeah. Or any other day in the life of our work.
How'd you get past that distraction?
Yeah. Like, how was your day? And like, how did you do that? And that would be something.
Oh, man, you really blew it on this.
Yeah.
What were you thinking in that
moment? What
moment?
were you thinking in that moment when you said that to that person? Or, yeah. I mean, that's just that alone to answer that. I think that's a good thing to think about. Like, am I going to let the joy that I have in God be affected at all by the circumstances of the day? And I'll confess, sometimes I allow that to happen.
Oh, I know I do.
And so, you got to reach deep down and find that joy again.
Right. Like, and I've talked about this before, but you're talking about that traveling light from the Max Lucado book of like giving it over to God. But our problem, at least my problem, is I say, okay, God, here it is. But then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, well, let me take it back,
God.
God.
Let me take it back. Yep. You're right.
I just can't give it over.
No.
And like, that's why one of my favorite verses in the Bible comes from the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus like, who of you can add an hour of your day by worry?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I know that, but putting it into practice isn't always the easiest.
Yeah. Sufficient is the day sufficient is the worry of the day. So just think about what's right in front of you.
Right.
So good stuff. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to us today and joining us for this faith intersection. And we hope that it's been a blessing to you.